book of Hebrews, again, goes back to his word, right? The book of Hebrews makes this point in its writings. In Hebrews chapter 4, the author says that in Psalm 95, when God says today, he means for today, which means that though Israel found rest in the promised land, hundreds of years before this psalm was written, there was still a rest they were missing out on. And so for us reading this now, there remains a Sabbath rest for God's people to uphold. There was still a rest that they were missing out on spiritually. And there remains a rest, a Sabbath rest for people to experience. But we who have believed in Jesus, his life, his death, his burial, his resurrection, his ascension, we have obtained that rest. Oh, man. In other words, the physical rest the children of Israel experienced in the promised land was pointing to a deeper and more fuller rest that is still available to us that we can miss. Just as the Sabbath called people to rest on the seventh day from all work, through the gospel of Jesus Christ, the people of God rest entirely from working and effort to achieve our salvation, to achieve our redemption, to achieve our adoption status into the family of God. Family, you need to understand this. This is the greatest, most threatening work available to you, to save your own soul. You can't do it. That work, there's no person wise enough. There's no person strong enough. There's no person mature enough to complete that work. That work is reserved for God alone to accomplish. The rest that God interrupts this song to tell us about is the driving force of our worship, because it frees us from performance. It frees us from needing to worry about our problems. It frees us from needing to draw attention to ourselves or having to stoke the fire in our soul to worship. See, when you were dead in your trespasses and sins, Jesus Christ lived the life you couldn't, died the death you deserved, giving mourning to your mournings, taking you from the depths to redemption, giving you something to do when you don't know what to do. Through the freedom of Jesus' blood, purchasing you for God, you now have the way of worship accessible to you. Transforming your life, changing your habits, freeing you from having to look within yourself for strength, but to him who can do far more than you could ever ask, think, or imagine. Because when God is the object of your worship, when he is the most valuable thing to you, it doesn't matter what season of life you find yourself in. It doesn't matter what might come your way. You can shout joyfully to the Lord, and enter his presence anytime, at all time, because he is great, because he is king of our world, because he is our God, and we are people of his pasture. We rejoice in him because he reigns today. We praise to him because he's good today. We sing, prostrate before him because he's worthy today, and he still speaks to us through his word today. So then there's hope for our hardened hearts. There's hope for the weary souls. And that hope, family, is in the voice of God today. Enter his presence. Come to him joyfully shouting. Kneel before him in submission. Prostrate on the floor in reverence, giving glory, honor, and praise to our living God, our rock, our King, and our Redeemer.